Good evening, field hockey fans, and welcome to Andre Reed Stadium on the beautiful campus of Kutztown University for today's Kutztown field hockey game featuring the Kutztown University Golden Bears and the Mansfield Mountaineers. Darren Jurgen alongside Glenn Mann for the call. And Glenn, it's good to have you along today. And this is our first one, our debut. A lot of firsts today, but good to have you here, Glenn. And I know we're excited for what should be a great game today between the Mountaineers and the Golden Bears.
Absolutely, a game with plenty of playoff implications. The Golden Bears have been solid at home all season with the 6-1 record, but unfortunately have faltered when traveling. So hopefully this will be playing into their favor. Mansfield enters the game with a 6-8 record overall and a 1-5 record in the Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference, or PSAC for short. And then over on the Golden Bears side, they are 8-6 overall with a 3-4 record in the PSAC, looking to make it 500 in the PSAC, which would be great for them, as we said, heading into playoffs.
Yeah, and you talked about the importance of this game. Just kind of doing a rough count here. It looks like Kutztown is down in 7th in the PSAC table, sitting at 3-4, as you mentioned. But team in third place, number 2 East Stroudsburg, with 4 wins in the PSAC. So this one is still very much up for grabs in what could probably be said as the most competitive field hockey conference in the country, and certainly in Division II.
Absolutely, because when you look at the conference as a whole, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 teams ranked in the top 25, including the 1, the 2, and the 3 spot. But as you mentioned, East Stroudsburg with 4 wins in the conference, they're the second-ranked team in the country. So you can see that Kutztown's not too far off. They've let a couple of games slip past them, but I think if they're able to hunker down and win their 7th game of the season at home, they'll be able to progress further into the playoffs. And a lot of expectations coming into the season, and now if they're able to close out and win games late in the season, I think we'll be gearing up towards a really good season for the Golden Bears.
Yeah, and you talked about expectations, and with the program that head coach Marcy Schuing has established here at Kutztown, expectations pretty much come every season here for the Golden Bears. So we're going to get started with the starting lineups here as the teams make their way out to midfield, and then we will break for the anthem and get this one on get this show on the road. So Glenn, why don't you run down the starters for the Mountaineers first?
Absolutely. For Mansfield, the Mountaineers, we have number 5, Amber Prince, playing the midfield. Number 8, Katie Jamison, playing forward. Number 9, Larissa Motz, playing forward as well. Number 15, Abby Predmore, playing defense. Number 16, Michaela Chaikin, playing defense. Number 17, Madison Walensky, playing defense as well. Number 18, Emily Blighty, playing defense. Number 24, Gabby Heber, playing the midfield. Number 26, Megan Griffin, playing defense. And then number 27, Katie Lipsky, playing midfield. And in goal for the Mountaineers, number 2, Brittany Ryan.
Yep, and so I will run down the starters for Kutztown. Mansfield coached by Brittany Hansroth, assistant coach Sarah Weiskopf. Starters for your Golden Bears tonight. Number 00, Madison Stewart at the forward position, the senior from Newcastle, Delaware. And number 2, the defender McKenna Consollier, junior from Milford, PA. Number 8, Molly Bobjack, a sophomore from Newcastle, Delaware, also in the midfield. Number 11, Madison Wampler, senior from York, playing forward. Hadley Wichter, defender, a sophomore from Danville, PA. Kira Wozniak, a forward sophomore from Plains, PA, number 18. Number 25, Mackenzie Furman in the midfield, a sophomore from Lancaster, PA. And then number 30, Courtney Conowall, senior from Plymouth Meeting. And Michaela Beatty, number 34, senior from Drexel Hill. And Morgan Aldinger rounds out these starters. But, of course, we don't want to forget Chardonnay Hope in goal, the senior from Newcastle, Delaware. And the Golden Bears are coached by Marcy Schuing. She's assisted by Amber Ockenbach, Morgan Firestein, and Anna Boehm. So we're pretty much just wrapping up the starting lineups here over the PA, and then we will get going after the national anthem. But like you said, Glenn, big one tonight for the Golden Bears. And you talked about some of their struggles on the road, but they got to be feeling pretty good about themselves. A 4-0 victory at Mercyhurst, their last time out, and it's going to be about how they can kind of build the momentum from that tonight and what's could be called a must-win for this team.
Absolutely, and the biggest struggle, I'm not going to say struggle, but the biggest challenge they're going to have to overcome is the fact that Mansfield has proven to be pretty good defensively, especially between the pipes. They lead the PSAC in saves at 10.64 per game and also save percentage at over 89%. Now, that's a double-edged sword there, because a lot of people will say that because they're having to make all these saves that the defense hasn't been playing well, but you still got to get past the goalie, and the Golden Bears, like you said, they just had that offensive outburst. But I believe now we have our national anthem, so we'll be heading to break, and we'll catch you guys afterward.
Alrighty, so we are back here after a rousing rendition of the national anthem here at Andre Reed Stadium, and we're just having the teams pick up their sticks here, and this thing will get underway very shortly. But Glenn, why don't you run down the other big matchups in the PSAC tonight? We talked about the strength of the conference and some big ones that the Golden Bears need to take care of business here, but they've also got to have their eye on.
Absolutely, and we have the number 7 Westchester Golden Rams going up against East Stroudsburg, the number 2 ranked East Stroudsburg, as well as the number 10 Bloomsburg team taking on that number 3 Millersville. But one game that's going to be played, that was played earlier today as well, was Seton Hill versus Shippensburg. I don't believe too many people had Seton Hill penciling to win that one, but the Westchester East Stroudsburg game I think was probably the closest one that we were going to see, as we were talking about before. The playoff implications between these teams is massive heading in later into the season. So it's looking good for the Golden Bears to also put their name into this conversation. So we'll look to see if they can take the first step tonight.
Yeah, and like we talked about, a lot of parity in the conference. Sure, Shippensburg up top, sporting a 6-0 record and the number 1 overall ranking in Division II. But, I mean, Millersville at 6-1, the number 3 team. And then as you go down the table, really just a lot of solid teams in this conference. And Kutztown is looking to get themselves back up the table. And like what we said, is going to be a huge one tonight as far as playoff implications are concerned.
Not sure if we mentioned this earlier, but Mansfield also the alma mater of Kutztown head coach Marcy Schuing. So this is also going to be a little bit more personal than I think most games are. She always wants to come out on top against her former team. So
yeah, you could say maybe head coach Schuing had this one circled on the schedule, not just because it's her alma mater, but certainly that plays a factor, and also because of the big sizes that this game is going to hold as the team goes forward. Looking at the rest of the schedule, going at Shippensburg, home against East Stroudsburg, and then Limestone on Senior Day. But those 2 games against Shippensburg and East Stroudsburg, looking at facing the number 1 and the number 2 ranked teams in their last 2 PSAC games of the season. So
it's absolutely going to be a test for them, but you also have to keep in mind that these are the teams that they're going to have to face if they want to win in the playoffs. So it'll be a good test for them, just like it is for tonight.
So we are just about set here as the Mountaineers and Golden Bears take the field. And once that clock gets running and we hear the whistle, we'll be off here tonight for what should be some exciting field hockey action. Ball controlled by the Mountaineers off the opening touch, and we are underway. Looks like Golden Bears quickly take possession of that, and they will draw a foul as they are moving into the offensive zone quickly. Foul there in the end, and now the Mountaineers will have the opportunity to move it out. Mountaineers moving the ball towards the midfield stripe, and that one is stolen away. Look like that's Morgan Aldinger over there making a nice defensive play.
Senior captain for the Golden Bears, has been one of the more consistent defenders on the team. She's always been one of the starters for the Golden Bears, I believe a 4-year starter.
And I know with Aldinger, we see her take a lot of those penalty corners, and she does a nice job in getting that ball in there on the set pieces, and I'm sure we will see some of those tonight. Golden Bears carrying the ball into the offensive end, and that is, looks like Madison Stewart with the control. She will play it back, and ball is played across the field there. As played back again, that is number 16, Hadley Wichter with it. Wichter controls and tries a pass there for Molly Bobjack, but it goes out of bounds, and the Mountaineers will take possession. So I think something that, you can talk about very similar to soccer, possession is a huge part of this game.
Absolutely.
And the more times you can possess the ball, it goes without saying, but the more times you can possess the ball, the better chance you have to score, and it's going to be all about taking advantage of your opportunities. I know we've seen a lot of games this year, Glenn, where we feel like the Golden Bears, sure, they put in a couple goals, but they could have put in a couple more.
Absolutely.
And tonight it's going to be about getting on top of that. Shot by Stewart is kicked away by the goaltender, Brittany Ryan. But Kutztown keeps control. Stewart still has it, shoots, and scores. So an early goal, and we talked about taking advantage of your opportunity, and it looks like that one is in. We will get confirmation on who exactly scored it. Shot originally went from Stewart.
It looked like it ricocheted off of a Golden Bear offensive player, but we could be wrong. Like you said, the original shot was off by Madison Stewart. Believe that is going to be credited to another player, though. And waiting on confirmation.
A nice job by Stewart. It looks like Courtney Conwall is going to get credited for that. So that is her first goal of the season, assisted by Stewart. Or actually, first goal of the game, her fourth of the season, assisted by Stewart. But that's what we're talking about, taking advantage of the opportunity. Stewart doesn't give up on the shot there. It's kicked away by the goaltender, Ryan, but she's right on top of it and makes the play that ultimately results in the goal.
It was fantastic. And one thing going back on your possession point is that it seems to be the problem with the Golden Bears sometimes, kind of like in traditional hockey, that possession inside of the neutral zone, there's no per se neutral zone in field hockey, but it looks to be between the 40-yard line and the other 40-yard line. If you lose possession in there, that just loses all momentum for you because you're trying to get pushed into the offensive zone, but if your passing is not on point, then unfortunately you're just going to be sent it the other way, and you're going to be open for another counterattack, and in this case, cuts down, executed perfectly.
Yeah, and not an easy game to control the ball in. I mean, you're dealing with a hard ball and a hard stick, and you don't really have much leeway as far as how to move it around. So, like we said, possession is really everything, and early on, Kutztown's been all over the Mountaineers in that offensive end, and I really think since the opening touch between the goal and now that other chance that they had down in there in the corner, we really haven't seen much offense from the Mountaineers.
Absolutely. Mansfield has yet to push. This is the first time I believe that they pushed the ball past the 50-yard line. So as we were saying.
And that one's handled there easily by, looks like that is Mackenzie Furman, who tries to slap it out towards the 50, but it is stolen away by a Mountaineer player. Mountaineers looking to move it, but Furman with an aggressive defensive play. I think she got whistled down for that. So a quick restart. Mountaineers with the ball close into the goal crease, and before Hope can kick it away, it looks like the ball will be turned over on a foul to the Golden Bears. So little chance there for the Mountaineers, but good job by Kutztown to keep hacking inside, and they were able to get the ball back.
Looked to me like the Mansfield player actually kicked the ball, which is, as we know, illegal in field hockey. So a break for the Golden Bears there, but a little bit of a defensive breakdown.
Yep, and now we see Mountaineers holding the ball in the Kutztown offensive end. Looks like they elect to move it back a bit, try to maybe get some possession of their own. One-on-one move there, and the Mountaineers keep the ball and try to dump it inside, but that one will be stopped, and a whistle blown as Kutztown looks to move it out.
They're on the counter here. Let's see if they can make a play.
Counterattack here. Nice job by Wozniak to take it outside. Wozniak looked... Can't exactly see who that is on the far wing.
Looked like that was for Michaela Beatty.
So Wozniak looked for Beatty on the far wing. She was kind of running for a through ball there, but Wozniak with a little bit too heavy of a touch, and it goes out of bounds as the Mounties take possession. So 1-0 your score here on that goal. A minute and 50 in from Courtney Conawall, but definitely set up there by Madison Stewart. So we clock winding towards 30 minutes left here in the first half, and Kutztown leading 1-0. And like we said, you want to get on them early and often, and so far that has absolutely happened. Ball lifted high in the air. Looks like that is intended for Wampler down the side. Wampler putting pressure on the Mountie defender, and she's able to cause a turnover down there deep in the end. Molly Bobjack controls. Bobjack looking, and dumps it inside. It looked like maybe that was some sort of deflection play, but Golden Bears stay with it. And that is Wampler with the ball, and she's going to draw a foul right outside the circle. Back out top. That's Furman, and Furman draws a foul. Looks like it's going to come back out. I thought maybe there for a second it was going to be a corner, but they rule that the foul happens outside the half circle there, and they will reset. Ball moved over, shot inside, deflected away, and now the Mounties look to push forward. But I think, something that we've seen early on, Glenn, I mean, yeah, they had the one chance coming into the offensive end, but it seems like when the Mounties get the ball, they're really just trying to get rid of it. Kutztown's putting a lot of pressure on them early, and I wonder if that was part of the game plan for head coach Marcy Shuey tonight. Put pressure on that defense. Yeah, maybe they're used to making a lot of saves, but probably not used to the high-pressured attack that they're seeing tonight.
Absolutely, and on the other end, when Kutztown was on defense, you could see that Mansfield was, like you said, they were not pressing forward. They were trying to create passes on the outside, and it looks like the Kutztown defenders have just been outclassing them as far as athleticism is concerned because they haven't been able to get anything around them. Mansfield was committing turnovers because of penalties, and so Kutztown now, as you see again, making the one-on-one play. I believe, I can't see the number, but she made a great play on the ball, and now the Kutztown on the offense again.
Yeah, it looks like that's Molly Bobjack as Trinity Ponton moves it down the right side, and I know that's somebody that we like to watch out there, Glenn. When Ponton gets on the run, there's just about nobody in the Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference that can catch her. So if Ponton gets in that open field, we saw one of those counter plays there with Hadley Wichter early in the game, but if that's Ponton, she might be able to beat the defender all the way to the net.
That girl could beat me in a race. I'm just saying, she is fast, and if the Golden Bears can get her into some open space like we saw earlier, she can make plays happen. As we see here, she's moving inside of the 15. She might be trying to make a play here. Looks like a nice crossover from number 18.
Yeah,
that is Kira Wozniak, who had a really good game last time with 2 goals.
Nice play by Wozniak on the forecheck. And sometimes, your defenders are expected to be ones that take the ball, but when your offensive players can apply pressure to the defense, that's just as good. And Wozniak showing that there as the Mounties enjoying some possession here, moving the ball down the right side. But it looks like that is going to be a foul there. Maybe advance that ball with a body part, either a kick or elsewhere, and that is illegal. So the Golden Bears will take over, and it looked like Mountaineer defender on the far side was able to make a play, but knocked it out of bounds.
And once again, we see a Kutztown defender just simply marking her man, for lack of a better term, marking her woman. But we can see that the Kutztown players are making one-on-one plays. They're beating the ball. Those 50-50 balls are coming out for the side of KU. So you're just seeing really, really good, stout defense thus far through the first 8 minutes of play.
Yep, and I think that is the first substitution there. And that is going to be Caitlin Bodie checking in for the Mountaineers. And it looks like for Kutztown, number 22, Lee Rosselli, the freshman defender from Romansville, PA, out of Bishop Shanahan High School, getting ready to check in as well. But for now, she is waiting there patiently on the sideline as the Mounties take over just inside the 50-yard line. But like we said, there has not been much going. A lot of pressure still you see. I mean, it's a one-on-one play, but it's almost a two-man trap every single time. They're doing a nice job of controlling that ball and trapping the Mounties. They really don't have much to do on offense yet. Mounties bring it in. A good cross there made, and that one will roll over the end line as Chardonnay Hope looks to move it out. So that was probably their best offensive possession here thus far. And like we said, it just takes one opportunity to put the ball in the back of the net, and that was nearly it. A nice cross made there, but better play by the Golden Bear defender to make sure that the offensive player for Mansfield was not able to put it in the back of the net. So now Golden Bears look to move it out.
And if you're a Mansfield fan here, you want to see your offensive players take a shot, make something happen. I guarantee you Madison Stewart didn't have a dead-eye look at goal there, but because she put the ball on goal, something happened, and that's what set up the goal for the Golden Bears. So if Mansfield are getting these chances inside of the 5 on Chardonnay Hope, you want to see them take a shot, take a chance to make something happen here.
Yeah, nice clear made there by Mackenzie Furman, although the Mountaineers will keep possession. Nice job by Furman to get it out from the middle. But like you said, there aren't a lot of open shots in this game. I mean, you see sometimes where the player ends up with the ball on the doorstep and they're able to just kind of tap it in easy. But for the most part, you see a lot of deflections, a lot of broken plays, and that's kind of the name of the game when it comes to field hockey. And like we said, you got to just take your shot and hope it goes in sometimes, and that's what Stewart did. But what was really impressive to me with Stewart, who actually it now looks like she was credited for the goal, so it looks like we made an adjustment. So Stewart is going to get the goal.
Absolutely.
And, it was simply just following her shot, not giving up on it. She saw the save, but the goalie kicked it right out to her, and she was able to be aggressive and kind of get an offensive rebound, for lack of a better term there, and able to finish it in the back of the net.
That would be Stewart's 5th goal on the season. She is one behind Trinity Ponton for the second place spot, number 1 being Kira Wozniak. As we mentioned before, she had 2 goals in our last game. Absolutely stellar performance. She's been a very, very nice addition to this team. Last year, Marty Schuing was very high on her, and now she's coming to fruition.
More good play in the midfield, and the Golden Bears draw the foul as they will look to move it out. So a lot of the action here in the last 10 minutes or so, or 5 minutes even, after the goal has very much been in this central part of the field, and that's what we talked about. You really just need a breakthrough to get it into the offensive end, and then you never quite know what's going to happen. Mountaineers with the ball back, and was that a foul there? It looked like a kick ball.
Another foul by Kutztown, unfortunately, in the neutral zone like we were talking about. And right there, as you see, the most dangerous thing about field hockey is that ball hitting Madison Stewart square in the knee. But she's getting up. She's being a trooper.
Yeah, and the thing that can sometimes add insult to injury, it's like you get hit with the ball and it hurts, but it's a foul too. So, I mean, it's kind of a tough – can be a tough go of it sometimes. Absolutely. When the other team has the ball. Good job by the KU defense once again. And bend but not break mode, retreating back and making a nice play in the defensive end. So now we are under the 25-minute mark, so just about 12 minutes gone here as we approach 23 minutes left in the first half. 1 goal on really 1 chance. I mean, it was 2 chances, but really in 1 time from Stewart, and that is the difference here thus far. Good pressure put on again. This time it looked like it was number 30, Courtney Conowall, applying pressure in the offensive end, but she will be called for the infraction, and the Mounties will look to move it out. A little bit of a brisk night here in Kutztown, but otherwise not much to complain about. Pretty much your typical fall weather out here tonight. And, they talk about football weather, but I'm going to have to extend it. This is field hockey weather.
Absolutely.
Tonight.
Hoodie weather
here
is
from
what being
Andre
the kids
Reed.
call it nowadays.
Andre Reed Stadium.
There's nothing better.
Golden Bears possessing the ball, and it looked like that one was going to sneak through for a second. A good defensive play made down there right by the net. But, that's all it takes. There was just a little play made, and suddenly they're, 10 feet away from the net. And if that one gets through, that one may have caused the goalie, Brittany Ryan, some trouble.
Seems to me like the Golden Bears are trying to get Trinity Ponton on the run here because, as you said before, she's most likely the fastest girl in all the conference, definitely in this game, probably in the whole building. So they really want to try and get the playmaker with the ball, but the defense has been playing well for Mansfield as far as that is concerned, and as we see, Trinity is now checking out, and number 11, Madison Wampler, checking back into the game. So the Golden Bears are probably going to have to weather the storm a little bit. Missing probably their best playmaker. And
you talked about Ponton's speed, and rumor has it that she will be a 2-sport athlete here at Kutztown. Going to try it out for the track and field team, and I'll have to ask Brian Salvador about this one during halftime. But I can't imagine there's too many 2-sport field hockey, track and field athletes that have ever come through this school. But like we said, Ponton's one of the fastest field hockey players we've ever seen, and head coach Marcy Schuing echoed that from the beginning of the season. She said, watch out for this Ponton girl. She can run.
Absolutely. I would imagine she's going to be going for the sprints, but you never really know. Trinity could probably try out for the 100, the 200. I personally ran the 300-meter hurdles in high school.
Yeah, she might. I was going to say she might take a page out of your book and go for the hurdles.
Hey, if she needs a coach, I got it.
So the Bears move it in. Golden Bears move it into the offensive end, but nice play made back there by the Mountaineer sweeper, but a better play there by Madison Wampler as she is able to knock that pass down and keep it in the end. Here's the trap that we've seen. Trapping towards the sideline, and it looks like that one's going to get through the legs of a Mountaineer defender, and Kutztown's on the break. Conowall racing down the right side, and that is going to be a corner. or actually they're going to bring it back out. So my mistake. It looked like they were going to award the corner there for a second, but they're going to bring it out right around the 10-yard line here, pretty close to the football sideline, as that one's crossed in, but nobody home. Wow, that was a good cross there, as looked like number 4, Rose Moore, was the intended target, but it was just a little bit too hot for Moore to handle, and the Mountaineer defender was able to slap it away.
But once again, we're seeing Kutztown putting the ball into the zone. They're trying to make things happen out of nothing, pretty much. There were 3 defenders over in the corner corralling that cross, but she was able to sneak it in there, and if a couple inches to the left, couple inches to the right, Rose Moore might have had a shot on goal there.
And we keep hitting on it, but that play is caused by Wampler. She knocks the pass down, keeps possession for the Golden Bears, and they're eventually able to get a good chance.
The senior's having a very good game. Not so much stat-wise, but she does a lot of the dirty work for the Golden Bears, so she's able to get things going.
And like we said, field hockey's a game that's really not made on the stat sheet. You know,
absolutely.
You're really going to only see your goals, assists, defensive saves. That's about it. But there's a lot more that goes into the game than that. And like we said, there's a lot of intangibles there, and Wampler doing a great job with those tonight. That one is cleared out of bounds.
Golden Bear ball.
And again, you know, the Mountaineers just look pressured when they have the ball. It's almost got the effect of, like, even when you have time, when you're used to that pressure, you start to get a little antsy with the ball. And that time, she had plenty of time and space, but just was not able to connect.
As a former defender in soccer, similarly to field hockey, you just want to get the ball out of the zone more than anything else. So sometimes your focus on the basics, on your basic technique and mechanics, they sometimes can go awry. And so when you're trying to get the ball out of the zone, you'll most likely just be hitting the ball just the opposite way and not looking to connect with the stick of your teammate. And because of that, the Golden Bears continue making turnovers before the ball can even get into the neutral zone. So now we see once again they're on the pressure, but unfortunately a foul means Mountaineer ball.
Yep, and Beatty did a nice job controlling it down there in the corner. Like you said, the foul is going to give the ball over to the Mountaineers, but again, a turnover quickly, as that's Beatty right on it again. Ball inside for Rose Moore, but she loses it up top toward the top of the circle, and now the Mountaineers are on the attack. Nice play made on the far side there, as the KU defense will elect to control in their own end. So 17:46 left here in the first half, and KU clinging to the 1-0 lead, but they've had some chances. And, you know, what it would do for this team, you've talked about some of their struggles on the road, and in certain games they've had struggles putting the ball in the back of the net. And it almost seems like when they get 1 or 2 early, they can open up the floodgates. And that's certainly what happened in their last game against Mercyhurst, scoring 4 goals, which is a lot in field hockey. So if they could get another one here before the half, you know, that would do wonders for this team as Mansfield moves down. But again, Kutztown able to clear, and that's Wampler slapping it up the right-hand side, and that one's going to go off the Mountie defender there. Looked like that was Gabby Heber in the midfield, a junior from Doylestown, PA, knocking it out of bounds as the Bears move it forward. Substitution there, right? Looked like that was number 9, Rita Moro, that just checked in.
Rita is a native of Barcelona, Spain. Pretty interesting story about her. Awesome to see some international talent come over to Kutztown. Always good to have some nice influx of European players in sports like field hockey and soccer.
Diversity, always a good thing, and Murrow providing that for the Kutztown team. Field hockey, very much an international game. I mean, in the States, it's thought of kind of, you know, in a specific locale, and we happen to be there, and mostly a women's game. But internationally, I mean, there's plenty of men's field hockey teams, and I believe even they have men's field hockey in the Olympics, but they certainly have international competition. So very much an international game is the sport of field hockey. Nice play actually made there by Rita Murrow, who we were talking about briefly. She tried to dump it outside. I think that's Stewart there that was on the right flank, but she was not able to connect. As a lot of back and forth play here has been going on, and that's why you love to see what you got out of Stewart so early in the game. This is not a game where you score very many goals.
Absolutely.
So, like we said, we might be beating a dead horse, but you got to take advantage of your opportunities, and that's what Kutztown was able to do, and that's really why the score is where it's at right now.
And again, bringing up that Mansfield had a couple of chances when they were about 5, maybe 10 yards away from Chardonnay Hope, and we have yet to see them put a shot on goal. You see how now they have, in the past 10 minutes, they haven't been able to get into the zone. I believe that it was an 8-minute stretch before a Kutztown defender even touched the ball. So now we're seeing, once again, Kutztown on the press, and hopefully they can make something happen here.
Yeah, nice pass by Furman. Got it over to Murrow, and now Stewart carrying, and she looks like she's going to take it herself. Slaps one on goal, and that is deflected in.
And Madison Stewart
Madison
again.
Stewart, have yourself a game. She kind of juggled that through past the top of the circle, and kind of some fancy stick work, and then it looked like it bounded off of whoever was down there towards the goal. It looked like it was Kira Wozniak this time. So Wozniak said, fine, you're going to take the first goal from me. I'm going to get one anyway.
Third goal in 2 games for the sophomore. And we saw Madison Stewart's best impression playing some ping pong there. Took the ball about 15 yards, bounced it off her stick, settled. Looked like she was about to strike, faked out the goalie, passed it left, and Wozniak had a wide open goal. You had mentioned earlier in the game, every once in a while, field hockey, you find those situations where it's a broken play and a wide open net. And the Golden Bears executed perfectly.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that was intentional by Stewart or not to shoot it wide.
We'll say that it was.
The goalie had the post covered, but then when she shot it wide, it went past the keeper, and then the deflection was easy for Wozniak. The goalie, I think, thought that shot was going out of bounds.
Absolutely. And then Wozniak just at the right place in the right time. You can't ask for much more from her. So now the Golden Bears, we had talked about before, how they got good starts to the game. We want to see them close it out. 2-0 lead here with about a little under 15 minutes left in the first half. Looking good so far for Kutztown, and Marcy Schuing's facing once again her alma mater. So she's gonna be happy with this one.
Yeah, and strategy-wise, one thing we talked about, kind of the team getting a few goals and kind of being able to open up the floodgates with scoring. I would say one reason that is goals are at such a premium that the team like Mansfield now has to start pressing. It's 2-0. Of which has not been updated on the scoreboard yet, so we will work that out. But in the meantime, 2-0 here with 13:57 left. Actually, it looks like the clock has now been stopped for a second. But at any rate, that's kind of what we're talking about. Mansfield's going to have to press now. They're down 2 goals here in the first half, and we'll see if maybe Kutztown can get on the counter once again, and wouldn't be surprised if Trinity Ponton checks back in at some point, and maybe we can see her streaking towards the goal.
The delay of the game was actually a green card awarded to Mansfield's number 24, so Kutztown now has the man advantage. So they'll look to, like you said, take advantage. Hopefully we'll see some Trinity Ponton with that speed we've been playing up. But the one thing I wanted to mention was, once again, Mansfield. They've had opportunities before. They didn't take any shots on goal. And once again, something out of nothing for Kutztown. A 1-on-3 by Madison Stewart to set up Kira Wozniak. Once again, great start for the Golden Bears.
Yeah, and on the defensive end, yeah, sure, Kutztown has allowed a few chances, a few bits of possession for Mansfield, which, again, they're enjoying here at this juncture. But it's more just they've known when to close it down. They've been able to keep the player that has the ball in front of them, and then when they see that she's going to attempt a shot, she's able to close it down and make the deflection at the right time.
And we're going to have to see the defense play well once again as
looks
the
like
first corner of the game. Mansfield waiting to see the number. These jerseys are tough, man. I'm not lying.
Yeah, the red on white, especially at night, it is very hard to see. I don't think it helps that we're looking at the maroon end zone behind her.
It looks to be number 8, Katie Jameson from Parksburg, PA. She sent the ball in, but nothing doing. Once again, Kutztown defense showing up big.
Yeah, and that's a nice play there. It looked like that was Michaela Shakin, the freshman from Dallas, PA, that had the ball for Mansfield, but it was closed down there on the far side, and Kutztown's on the counter.
There's Rita Morrow once
again. Deep into the corner, Murrow. Looked like she lost the ball and then maybe tried to act for a foul. I appreciate the effort there, but unfortunately the referee was not buying it. And Mansfield looks to move it out. It looks like we saw a defensive substitution there. So that's the freshman defender from Cedarville, New Jersey, out of Cumberland Regional High School, Alyssa Donato, that has checked in for the Golden Bears and playing. Looks like she's kind of in the right back spot when they get back on defense. And they're going to have to do that quickly here as the ball bounding around. And Mansfield on the break, a kick save by Hope. Not sure she knows where it's at, but she's able to get it out. So a good aggressive play. And boy, a pile up there in the defensive end. It looks like it's going to be Kutztown ball as they look to move it quickly. But a nice aggressive play there by Hope. I know sometimes she scares us when she comes out of the net like that, but a good job of really being aggressive there. Seeing that the ball was a little bit away from the Mountie offensive player, a little bit too heavy of a touch by the Mountie player, and Hope is right there taking advantage and is able to kick it away.
Bodies flying everywhere on that play as we saw Katie Jamison flying in from Mansfield, but was unable to get a clean shot off, it seemed like, because Chardonnay Hope, like you said, on a heavy touch, she recognized it and didn't go back between the pipes. She took matters into her own hands, took out the offender, and cleared the ball. But once again, we see Kutztown on the attack.
Yeah, taking matters into her own hands there on the far side. Looked like that was number 16, Hadley Wichter, who's also had a good game. We've said her name a bunch here in the first half, doing a nice job possessing the ball. Unfortunately, she had it taken away as the ball moves back out towards the 50. So 25 minutes gone here as we approach the 10-minute mark left here in the first half. And 2-0, and it's been the Stewart show so far. Stewart with a goal and an assist, and really did most of the work for that goal for Wozniak, but was generous enough to give one up to her teammate.
Absolutely. If this were KU football, she would be my Kelly Sports player of the game. But as we are moving along, still plenty of field hockey left to be played, and I'm sure we're going to see some more plays by the Golden Bears, and hopefully we won't have to see too many of this. Mansfield on the attack.
Yeah, and as is critical in a lot of sports, the last time you want to let the other team score is ever, really, but certainly in the last waning moments of a specific period, whether that's at the end of a period in hockey or whether that's at the end of a quarter in football, you want to be able to see this one out. Your team has played so well here in the first half, and you deserve to be up 2-0 at the break. You just need to make sure that happens. And, hey, we'll take more than 2-0, but certainly they deserve to be up 2-0 and have shown it on the defensive end thus far, and really that's really what this game has been. The story of this game, it's been a well-rounded effort.
You ever play a game called FIFA, Darren?
Yeah, sometimes I try my hand on the sticks.
Well, there's a nice little stat that they put in there, and when you're watching World Cup soccer or even the Premier League, they like to show a percentage of possession, and I believe here, if we were playing a nice little game of FIFA, kicking back, we would probably be seeing about a 70-30 split, it seems like. The Golden Bears continuously having the ball in the Mansfield zone. And once again, as we said, they are now pressing to put the third goal of the game.
Yeah, it looked like Conowall tried a fancy spin move there. She lost it for a second, but now has it back, shoots towards goal, and it is deflected out of bounds. And for a second, I thought it might have gone off the Mountie defender, but it looks like that was number 11, Madison Wampler, that tried to deflect it on goal. So the Mounties will move it out. Substitution here for Mansfield as they bring on Amber Prince. She actually started this game, the junior from Sinking Spring, PA, and is now back in here in what we would assume is she's going to finish out the first half. So 8:20 left. Stewart with the ball deep in the end, and that is a foul there.
Looks like to me that the Golden
there was
Bears
a little
are going to be in the corner.
Yeah, so there's going to be a corner here, and we see... Looks like that is going to be
the senior, Morgan Aldinger.
Yep, the corner specialist, Morgan Aldinger, trotting down the field, coming all the way back from her defensive position. And you got to imagine, Aldinger's really good at this, but she probably relishes the moment of taking the corner. Otherwise she's usually 70 yards from goal.
Absolutely.
So she gets a chance to get down there on the offensive end and make a play. We've seen almost everything from Marcy Schilling.
Look for a double pass here. There's
the double pass. There's a triple pass over there, and it looked like
a nice
Furman could get a shot off. She does get a shot off, kicked away there, and the ball is not controlled really by either team for a second.
Now Wampler with the
That's
ball.
Wampler now, but a foul called on Kutztown as the Mountaineers move it out. But a good chance there off the corner.
I would have liked to see the shot off of the third pass there for the Golden Bears. We saw before Madison Stewart put the ball out about 10 yards. That one would have been about 15, but you put the ball in play and you try to make something happen. And it seems to me like that's the way that the Golden Bears are going to try and press this lead.
Yeah, and I liked that set piece there. Not only was it the double pass, is this a long shot put in, and it's inside to Stewart. She's got control of it, and it is saved there by the goalie. And the Mountaineers are able to move it out, but it looks like it's going to be a foul.
So another corner for the Golden Bears.
It looks like another corner. But, yeah, that last set piece was very nicely done, that quick double pass. And then what I like to see is it was a fake out there. I think that was Furman at the top of the key, and she made it look like she was going to shoot it, and that gave Wampler a lot of space. But she elected not to shoot there. We'll see if this time somebody's going to pull the trigger here depending on who ends up with it. So Aldinger down on the opposite side
Look for
with the
Furman
corner.
here.
Comes up top and worked over to Stewart. She's going to let it rip. Actually, she's going to. So that was kind of like a shot pass there to Ponton.
Yeah, I
so
couldn't really tell on that one.
she brought the stick up high, but then kind of just hit a soft pass over to Ponton, who was on the near side right by the post, but Ponton was unable to control. Looks like the Golden Bears are going to maintain possession, as is just about 6 left here in the first half.
I'm going to chalk that one up to her stick not hitting the ball the way that she wanted. It seemed to me like she was rearing up to either send it in hard or even just take a flat-out shot, but it looked like the stick came across the face of the ball, sending it out right instead of it getting a nice little push off.
Yeah, a little bit of a duff shot there from Stewart. Looks a lot like what I do off the tee sometimes, and she was unable to connect with that one, but she has been great for the Golden Bears tonight. A good shot there. Gets stuck in the pads of hope as she has to kick it out twice for a big save. So that's what we talked about. A long shot. Yeah, it didn't really look like anything, but it looked like that was number 15 there, Abby Predmore. She saw a lane, and she let it rip. It was that kind of backhanded shot, and Hope had a little trouble dealing with it. It might have even gotten stuck in the goalie pads, but she was able to kick it out on the second try.
Came out like a knuckleball there, and like you said, just because it didn't look like it was going to be the greatest shot, something happened for Mansfield. Imagine if another player had been to the right side of Chardonnay, we would have a 2-1 game right now. But
Ball
Mansfield
inside.
again.
Hope comes out and makes a play with the blocker. Nice play there by Hope. Again, very aggressive out of the net. And sometimes she has gotten burned like that, but not so far tonight. Another great play there. Had to use all of it. Had to use her hand to clear that one out of bounds.
Some physical
Good pressure.
contact going on here.
Yeah, good pressure put on there by the Golden Bears. And that was a combination of Rose Moore, and it looks like that was number 22 in the back, Lee Rosselli, both applying the trap. And the Golden Bears with possession, looking to move it out. Ball cleared up through the middle, but only as far as that is number 24 there, Gabby Heber, but she sends it out of bounds, so the Golden Bears will retain possession. And that's another thing you'd like to see, and a good contrast to what we've seen out of Mansfield. When their defense gets the ball, they're just trying to whack it out of there, like we talked about. In soccer, when you're the sweeper, you're just trying to clear it out, but all their defenders are just trying to whack it out, where we've seen Kutztown move it up, move it back, and then look for that ball through, and sometimes that's a way to move the defense and then beat them.
They're progressing with possession, not just getting it out of the zone. Because unfortunately, every time Mansfield, as you said, had it in the defensive zone, they finally get possession, they're just trying to clear it out, not making connection to their sticks. I like a guy, his name's called Eric Burstein. He's the head coach of the women's soccer team. He always talks about connecting with the feet, and in this case, it's with the sticks.
Yeah, and a nice play made there by Rosselli. She was called for a foul, but immediately Furman erases the danger, and she's going to send one deep. And Wozniak, it's going to be a little long for Wozniak, but I like the thought. Dump and chase here from the Kutztown team as Mansfield looking to move it out, and they do a much better job possessing it in their defensive end as they will move forward.
Tried to send it, got denied. Sounds like a Saturday night, but that's just me.
So that was a nice play made there. And again, the Kutztown offense continues to fire. That one inside, and not much control there.
Just under 3 minutes left in the half. You'd like to see Kutztown close this out. Unblemished, 2-0, but we've seen sometimes they've had breakdowns at the end, and once again,
it's going to be a corner there for Mansfield, it looks like, as they are bringing up their corner specialist here. And what is a big corner here? I mean, you would think if you can clear it with just about it'll probably be about 2 minutes left once the corner's actually hit, as they're actually circling up to talk about it. So there may even be less time, and they may actually stop the clock for delay a game.
That'll be number 5, Amber Prince from Sinking Spring, Pennsylvania. Went to Appalachian State, a former D1 field hockey player. So sends it in to the outside. Golden Bears playing some good defense here, but another foul. We're going to have another corner now.
And it looks like that's going to be another corner as the Kutztown defense will retreat back into the goal cage. And we're going to see basically a replay as Amber Prince goes over to the far side and will look to send it in. So we haven't seen much by way of plays here from the Mounties, but here comes one. A long shot
Nice
kicked
save.
away by Hope. And that is a kick save and a beauty from number 31. Looks like that's going to be another corner. So Kutztown weathering the storm here as the half closes down. I think the Mounties feeling that pressure to try to get one. That would be huge for their momentum before the half. But equally as big would be a big stop here from Kutztown.
Let's see if they can make it 3 in a row.
Played in from the corner. Shot ripped there, and that was number 28 or 27, Katie Lipsky, ripping the shot. But looks like they're going to call another foul. As it looked for a moment there, it looked like Kutztown was going to be able to move it out.
Looked like the Golden Bears were on the counterattack there, but it looked to me like there was a foul right outside the zone, so therefore Mansfield gets possession once again. But now, 4 in a row in probably the span of about 2 minutes, Mansfield's going to get another corner. And once again, like you said, if they can put one in right before the half, that's huge for their momentum. So we'll see if the Golden Bears can respond. You want to see their seniors put out something that will make it seem like there is plenty of leadership on the team and make it seem like they are in this together. And now Mansfield once again with the ball, and they almost send it in.
Yep, and there's a scramble in the box, and it looks like before any shot can get off, that is going to be another foul and another corner. So this is what we talked about. Early on in the game, Mansfield wasn't really able to get much off, but they've now been able to get some space, get a few shots off, and yeah, they haven't been able to convert, but they've been getting corner after corner, and we know that, it just takes one for them to get back into this, and the clock is probably going to wind down here in the first half, but they will still allow the corner as we are just about wound down. Good pass there from the Mounties. Shot on goal, and it is denied by Hope. I mean, maybe it was the Stewart show for the first 20 or so minutes, but it's been the Hope show for the last 15. A great save and a couple good ones made there by Chardonnay Hope to close out the first half, and the Golden Bears still leading 2-0. So it's 10-minute halftime here from Andre Reed Stadium, and then we will be back. You are watching Kutztown Field Hockey on the Golden Bear Network with Darren Jurgen and Glenn Mann. All right, we are back here as action is just about to get underway. Here in the second half, we're going to do a quick rundown of some games, other games that we talked about around the PSAC. But first, we're going to give you the halftime stats. You saw them up there on your live stream. 2 goals for Kutztown, 1 assisted, 7 shots for both teams, 4 shots on goal for the Golden Bears, and 5 for the Mountaineers. 6 corners for Mansfield and 2 for Kutztown. 5 saves for Chardonnay Hope compared to 2 saves for the Mountaineer goalie, Brittany Ryan, there in the first half. And those 6 corners, 6-2 in corners, but they all happened really in a flurry in the last couple minutes. But why don't you run down the rest of the PSAC table today, Glenn? And what we said were some big games going on.
Absolutely. So the number 7 ranked Westchester Golden Rams went up against the number 2 ranked East Stroudsburg. And unfortunately, we're not able to win. East Stroudsburg came out on top 2-0. Big implications there as the number 2 seed continues to press their lead. Moving along, we had Millersville, the number 1 ranked Millersville team, going up against the number 3 Millersville team going up against the number 10 ranked Bloomsburg Huskies, and they barely nipped that one out by a 3-2 score. Moving along, we had Seton Hill going up against the number 1 ranked Shippensburg Raiders. And I got to say, the results of this game was not what the Griffins were hoping for, dropping that one 9-2. And then finally, we had Slippery Rock going up against Mercyhurst, and Slippery Rock barely edged that one out by a score of 1-0. So now let's get back to our game that we got going on here as we're just about to start the second half. The Golden Bears holding the 2-0 lead, and they've been very solid up until, I would say, about that last 3 minutes where they committed a bunch of fouls inside their own territory and had to go up against 6 corners of the Mansfield Mountaineers. So hopefully they'll be looking to fix that up heading into the second half.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talked about those results, and why don't we give you what that means in the table. So Shippensburg going to stay at number 1, 7-0 in the PSAC. Millersville going to stay at second, the ranked number 3 in the national poll, and at 7-1. And so the top 3 really going to stay the same. East Stroudsburg 5-2. Bloomsburg, with that loss, drops to 4-3, and they are tied now with Slippery Rock at 4-3. Westchester, with the loss, drops to 3-4. So if this result holds tonight, Kutztown can move its way at least 1 spot up the table above Westchester, and will move into a 3-way tie for 4th place with Bloomsburg, Slippery Rock, and the Golden Bears. So we are back off here, and a long ball played into the corner as we begin the second half. Looks like that one was intended for Wozniak down the side, but a nice play made by the Mountaineers as the referee calls them back to reset. So they're in the first half, Glenn. I think we were right on point as far as talking about taking advantage of your opportunities. I wouldn't say the Golden Bears had a ton of scoring chances, but the ones that they had were good, and thanks to Madison Stewart, they found their way into the back of the net.
Absolutely, and you'll be looking to see more of that from her. The senior leadership is going to be huge because you can get a lead. Any team can get lucky and score a couple of goals. It's the good teams that are able to buckle down, stay together, stay composed, to lead their team to victory in the closing minutes. But we got plenty of time left, so the Golden Bears are going to have to still stay on form. And as we see again, pushing into the offensive zone is the Golden Bears, but an untimely turnover here, and Mansfield will be looking to make something happen.
Yeah, nice play made by Katie Lipsky, but, it's a cliche phrase, but it's certainly true. Big-time players make big plays in big games, and that's Madison Stewart tonight, and she knows she's going to be relied on as the season progresses. You talked about her as a senior leader, but also coming into the season as one of the best players on the team. So you've got to get production out of those players at the top of the lineup, and Stewart and Wozniak have been doing it all tonight.
Darren and I have been on celebrity watch since the halftime was underway, and we have Kutztown Volleyball's own Coach Gump in attendance. If you would like, and you don't want to hear our voices anymore and would rather just read, you can head over to @KU Volleyball, or @VB Kutztown, my apologies, and read some of John Gump's tweets. They are exquisite, if I do say so myself.
You know what's funny is there was a little thing in the player bios at the beginning of the season, and a lot of the players on the Kutztown women's volleyball team said they liked their coach most for his savage tweets. And I'm thinking, what kind of tweets could Coach Gump be sending out? But he has some good ones. There's some gems in there at VB Kutztown, and I'm sure there will be more to come here in the second half. Mansfield moving the ball into the offensive end as they will look to strike here. I mean, 2-0, certainly not out of it, but it's getting to be the time where you've got to find a way to put one in. And we see them pressing hard into the offensive zone. It looked like Furman for a second there was going to have a break. Is that Wozniak on the near side? Yeah, Wozniak was breaking down here from right to left, but the pass didn't get through. Wozniak now controls, and it looks like that one's going to go back over to the Mountaineers. And you see who's about to check in here, Glenn. Looks like that's Trinity Ponton. So
the speedster, but we see Madison Wampler here on the break, a little bit thing going for the Kutztown Golden Bears. She's got Stewart in the middle, and play broken up there, but Stewart once again playing around in the middle. Look for them to look for her. And the ball goes out into the back, and we're going to have a corner, it looks like, for the Gold. Never mind. We had a foul outside of the zone.
So they're going to reset it outside, as you said. And Ponton waiting patiently, although she looks like she's itching to get on the field there at the 50-yard line.
Absolutely.
And we know she can make a difference. And like we said, with the way that Mansfield's going to have to push offensively, that could leave them susceptible on the back end. And that's exactly where you want Trinity Ponton to come into play. If you can get her on the run, forget about it.
For sure, because you're going to be seeing Mansfield press up with their line. They're going to be moving their girls up over the neutral zone and into Kutztown's territory to start. So if you're able to get somebody who's fast like Trinity Ponton behind that line, she's going to have some one-on-one looks. And with her legs, I take her over anybody on this court right now, on this field right now.
Yeah, absolutely. As Ponton ready to check in, Mountaineers holding, but they are able to move it into the offensive end. A swarm of Golden Bear defenders, but looks like that is, as she goes down, hard to see her number there, but that is number 8, Katie Jamison, the sophomore from Parksburg, PA. And Jamison not happy that she didn't get a foul there, as the foul was called on Mansfield, and Kutztown will be able to move it out.
Yeah, referee's letting them play there. We saw her fall to the ground, but to be totally honest, field hockey fouls can go one of which way. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell from up here in the booth because a lot of times you'll see a girl accidentally hit it with her foot, and that right there gives the ball over to the other team. So maybe her grievance was warranted. Maybe it wasn't. We're not sure. But either way, we have the Golden Bears pushing once again, still keeping the pedal to the metal on the offensive front.
Yeah, and kind of for the KU Athletics fans out there, of which I'm sure if you're tuning into the stream, you are one. Just a reminder that tomorrow the number 4 ranked women's soccer team will travel to East Stroudsburg for what is a pivotal matchup in PSAC play. And that one will start at 7 p.m. You can find the links to both video and live stats on KUBears.com.
Unfortunately, the Golden Bears lost their first game of the season to what was an historic start to the season, and they dropped 2 ranks in the national poll. But we'll look for them to bounce back. No worries there.
Yeah, and actually when you talked about the national poll, an important thing to look out for as we plug the women's soccer program is tomorrow the first NCAA regional rankings will release. And wouldn't be surprised to see Kutztown at number 1, but also wouldn't be surprised not to. So it's kind of just a wait-and-see thing here as far as the Atlantic region is going to go. But under head coach Eric Burstein, the team having an excellent season despite a loss in their last time out, and it'll be interesting to see how those NCAA regional rankings shape up in what will be their first release tomorrow. So now back to field hockey as Kutztown controls the ball in the offensive end, and boy, that was a bad mistake there made by Bobjack. She looked for an easy pass to Furman, but it was well wide, but it looks like the defense will hold as nice play made there, tried to go through the legs and was able to. Hard pass there by Aldinger, and could not be handled there by Bobjack. Got to say, I mean, it is hard to handle that ball. I do not envy them out there on the field. I mean, with the way the ball bounces around and how hard it is, it almost takes a perfectly weighted pass to really control it. Otherwise, you know, you're really just hacking it around.
When you have a pretty face like mine, you want to try and protect it. So when you see the ball flying all over the place, you just want to protect yourself. And I give credit to these girls for standing in there, putting their bodies in front to make sure that their team gets the possession. But we see Katie Jamison on that play again. She's probably been the most consistent player for Mansfield tonight. She's consistently trying to make plays, make things happen. But best player on probably best defender, Morgan Aldinger, she made the stop. And once again, senior leadership, lead by example.
Absolutely, and it looks like we're going to see a reset here out by the hash mark circle, which extends its way out past the 20-yard line. And
A little
the
bit of
Mountaineers had a
confusion on
chance.
the
Yeah,
field.
Mountaineers had a chance to move it in. That may be a case where they didn't reset at the right spot, so the referee is going to have the Mountaineer player. It looked like that is number 17, Madison Wilinski, the sophomore from right around the corner in Reading, PA, out of Muhlenberg High School, that was able to reset, and it looks like the Mountaineers are going to draw a corner now.
Looks like that'll be their 7th of the game.
Kutztown has been solid all game in the corner defense, but we'll see if they can hold up again. Unfortunately, they're still giving up some fouls inside their own zone. Not as clean as we'd like, but we'll see how the play plays out.
And to be honest, they got kind of lucky there at the end of the first half, giving up all those corners and not surrendering a goal thanks to Chardonnay Hope. They've got to shut this down and close it down early. Shot whiffed there, fortunately, as there was an opening. That was number 26, Megan Griffin. But a nice job by the KU defense. As a quick reset, ball dumped inside and blocked away as KU looks to move it forward, and they are somewhat on the run, but it looks like that is Molly Bobjack that elects to pass it off, and it's turned over. They're back to the Mounties.
7 for 7 for the Golden Bear defense. Look to make it. Hopefully there's no more corners for them for the rest of the game, but I'm sure there will be. This game has been physical since the very first minute. So, once again, Golden Bears turn it over in their neutral zone and Mansfield on the press.
And that's Rosselli's shot, not on goal, well wide, but a good chance there. An open lane from a tough angle, but certainly, as we said, most important thing is to keep getting shots on net. You never know what can happen when you put the ball in the goal crease.
So I think you'd agree with me that Mansfield has probably outplayed Kutztown for the first 7 minutes of this game. The first 5 minutes, I'm sorry.
They have looked good here in the second half, especially on the offensive end, and kind of the opposite of what we talked about in the first half. There wasn't much open when they carried the ball into, inside the 20-yard line into the area where they can score. But in this half, they've had some open lanes as we see them control and shot put on. Nice block, but it's still controlled by the Mounties, and a good defensive play is that Lee Rosselli on the back line. Looked like it was number 22, Lee Rosselli, making a nice play to get the ball out, and a turnover there at the top of the key.
Wozniak with the ball.
Wozniak on the run, able to control, still going, and that comes down to Trinity Ponton as a foul called on the Mounties, and a quick reset here. Number 30, Courtney Conowall with the ball. Conowall tries to work that one inside, and it's just
it
bounding
slips
towards the
through.
crease. And boy, that was a lapse in the back end there from the Mountaineers, and nearly probably one of the easiest goals for the season. I think that looks like it was Wozniak down there, and she nearly had a tap-in goal as the Mountaineer defense let the ball through, and I don't think they knew Wozniak was back there.
I don't mean to name names, but I'm going to name a name. If that was Trinity Ponton, I think that she gets to that ball, could possibly make a play. No offense to Wozniak, she's been great. But when you have the fastest player on the team out there, I think she makes the play on the ball.
Yeah, and that's one of those also where you're not expecting it to come to you, so you're not really on the run for it. And then when it ends up getting through the entire defense, it's almost a little bit too late.
Absolutely. But once again, we see the Golden Bears playing well. Gave it up on a foul. Cast or curse. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, and I think what we'd like to see here in the last 23 minutes is just a little bit more of what we saw in the first 20 or so minutes, just controlling the ball in their offensive end or even at the midfield stripe. Allowing Mansfield to get deep it can only result in something bad. And like we said, it's a 2-goal lead, and that's pretty comfortable, but 1 goal is a whole different story.
It seemed like Mansfield kind of came out flat to start the game, and you're seeing a little bit more energy from them. But right when we say that, the Golden Bears.
Stewart with a nice cross. It's controlled there. Shot on goal. And boy, Wozniak let her rip, but it did not find the net as it goes wide, and the Mountaineers will end up with it. But again, a nice job. Wozniak sticks with that ball. It's not a clean pass. Stewart gets it in. It gets deflected. She's able to make a juggle play, and Wozniak gets a good shot off. Unfortunately, it was not on net.
That was the best shot that she could have had, though, as far as angle is concerned. I couldn't see from up here how far left it was, but it seemed like that was the right idea. She was trying to put it past the goalie, and I think that if it was on goal, it still would have been outside of the goalie. So a great effort there by Wozniak.
I mean, clearly a much better effort than I would have ever put in. I'm still trying to figure out how they hit it like that. Like, she turns her back to the ball, and she can't hit it with the back of her stick, so she's got to kind of hook it. And it's really a tricky shot. but it works effectively. She was able to even get some lift on that. I mean, if that one's on net, I don't see the goalie saving it.
The upper arm strength of these girls must be immaculate. Imagine me trying to go in an arm wrestling tournament with these girls. That would be ugly.
I mean, you usually lose those anyways. So
that's what I'm saying, man.
I wouldn't be trying that. Stewart carries into the offensive end, tries to make a move, and that's going to be a corner cut. So
there goes Morgan Aldinger for the corner again, the corner specialist, as you like to call her. Hopefully they'll be able to make something out of this. A 3-0 lead. I know we were talking about how 2-0 a goal by Mansfield will be a little bit dicey, but a comfortable 3-0 lead, I think the Golden Bears would be in the complete and total driver's seat at that point.
3-0 in field hockey starts to at least put one of the nails in the coffin, in my opinion, and especially when you're looking at just about 20 minutes left in this one, and we'll see if we can get one here. Aldinger crosses up top, shot by Conowall, and oh boy, it's just wide. And I don't know if that was intended or not, but did you see how Aldinger snuck into the back post, and there was nobody home? There was nobody home, and if she knew that one was going to be wide right towards her stick, she may have made the play. But speaking of that, a turnover by the Mounties, Potton right on top of it, and tries to send it into Stewart, as it looks like that's going to be a foul, and they move it out.
Foot on that one.
Best corner chance of the day, probably for either team.
But yeah, as you were saying, Aldinger staying right behind the goalie. She was waiting for that juicy tap in, but unfortunately, I think we all thought that was just going to end up right in between the legs of the goalie. She was going to scoop it up. Play would have been dead, but it skirts right through. And I think that caught Aldinger by surprise, like you said.
Yeah, and Aldinger really, I mean, I'm not sure if that's a design play or not, but if it is, credit to Coach Marcy Schuing. I love the play. I mean, it's kind of like in basketball, the last person that they're looking for on the inbounds play is the inbounder. You throw the ball in, and everybody focuses on them, and the inbounder is able to sneak towards the hoop for an easy lay-in, and that's what it almost was there for Aldinger. So
Golden Bears back on defense here, hoping to avoid another one of those corners. I believe that would be number 8. But Mansfield pressing. Aldinger has to be named the defensive player of this team. She has just been so solid her 4 years here at Kutztown. They're really going to miss her when she's gone.
Yeah, absolutely. Aldinger does a nice job there in the back end, along with McKenna Consollier. I mean, we've really been impressed with the defensive effort of this team, game in and game out. But like you said, certainly it's those leaders that kind of anchor the defense, and in field hockey, just as much as in every sport, that back line is kind of the captain or the quarterback of the whole team. They're kind of calling everything out and setting the stage for what can be a counter, and we've seen some good counters tonight.
Golden Bear defense holding once again as Mansfield was pressing, looking to keep that shutout.
Nice play made there by Bobjack. Ball controlled by Stewart, and boy, she's using her body well as she makes it all the way around the Mansfield defense, and it looks like Conowall carrying in, but a foul will be called. Nice job by Stewart there. She worked her way around a couple Mansfield defenders, used her elbows well, able to kind of ward off the defender with that outside elbow, and nearly the Golden Bears were on the break as they will take the ball back over. 19-19 left here in the second half. Kutztown leading 2-0 on a goal from Madison Stewart in at the 150 mark in the second minute, and then a goal from Kira Wozniak just past the 20-minute mark gone at 20:02, assisted by Stewart. For Stewart, that was her 5th goal of the season, and for Wozniak, her 11th. So it's really been the big guns coming to play tonight for Kutztown.
Absolutely, and a little nugget for the fans back home. If the Golden Bears are able to keep this and complete the shutout, this will be their 5th of the season and their 2nd in as many games. So we'll be rooting for them on that front.
Yeah, and you can thank that kind of flurry and stand shot there by Stewart, and she looked for Wozniak on the back post, and she was there, but was unable to handle that hot shot. But again, Stewart absolutely electric on the offensive end, and she nearly found Wozniak for the second time tonight. But yeah, you talked about the shutout possibility, and it may be a little too soon to talk about that, but we can certainly entertain that, and they will only have Chardonnay Hope to thank for that if that does happen. I mean, the way that she made those saves there at the end of the first half not only, kept the clean sheet intact, but certainly made Kutztown feel comfortable going into the break.
Oh, for sure. As a defender, it's got to be a comforting feeling knowing that your goalie is able to handle those 50-50 balls like we saw on the one breakaway from Mansfield where she came out, saw that the hard touch came out, and she was able to make the play. So Chardonnay Hope, I mean, we had talked about, or at least I had talked about, that Madison Stewart was probably my player of the game thus far, but Chardonnay Hope's got to be in the conversation. I mean, especially if she keeps this clean sheet.
Very much a team effort tonight. I mean, there's a lot of player of the games to go around, I would say. I mean, whether it be the offensive play of Stewart, Wozniak, and the like, or Aldinger anchoring that back end, or even Hope and net. There really hasn't been much to complain about if you're a Golden Bear fan tonight. That one stolen away there from Wozniak, but she is pressed hard. Look at that. That's a 3-player trap there, and for a second there was a little bit of confusion there by Bob Jack, but again, good pressure applied as Mansfield with nowhere to go with it in the middle of the field. Great steal made there by Furman. Furman moving it down the wing. Furman continues to move it and looks there, and a nice play. Good control there by Wozniak. Wozniak looked to move it forward to Stewart, but it was stolen away there by Michaela Chaikin.
Talking about defense, we're going to head over to our Celebrity Watch once again, where Coach Kump tweeted out that, and I quote, "A corner and a couple of other good opportunities for Mansfield here in the second half. KU defense up to the challenge, though." So once again, it's not just us that are noticing it. The defense has been playing well. When you have an All-American like John Gump saying that, you know it's true. So good to see there for the defense. And now, once again, Golden Bears with possession, looking to move it back into Mansfield territory.
Yeah, very astute analysis there from head coach Gump, as we would come to expect with a seasoned veteran like himself. And we appreciate all the live tweeting and following a true Kutztown fan just as much as he is a coach.
Here's a play.
Stewart streaking down the wing, and like you said, looks like that might be, that was Wampler on the far side, and then that's Rose Moore in the middle. And Stewart was looking for more, but before that, Mansfield tried to make a stop but committed a foul. So you saw it was kind of a one-on-one there for Rose Moore, number 4, with the orange headband out there, and she nearly had a chance as Stewart was looking to get another helper for the night. That one turned over and dumped in. Good play there by number 11, Wampler, to keep it alive, and that one's played out of bounds. So Kutztown will keep it deep in the offensive end here with 15 minutes left in the second half. That one cleared in. Stewart unable to handle it. Stewart makes a nice defensive play on that deep in the end, and now the Mounties look to move it out, but they will be unsuccessful. As a nice play made there by Courtney Conowall. So this is more of what we saw in the first 10, 15 minutes of the game. Even though Kutztown didn't have a lot of great chances other than the goal for Stewart, they continued to put the pressure on in the offensive end, and that's just got to be so frustrating if you're Mansfield. You're trying to score, and you can't get the ball even out of your own defensive end.
For real, and now we have Kutztown again, once again on the corner. Morgan Aldinger will be taking this one. Like I said, if you can put a third goal here, up 2-0 already, it might be another nail in the coffin, and we got to play here.
Short side to Furman. Conowall thought about it. Stewart slaps one on net,
nice block,
and it's blocked away there by Emily Bleedy. And now it looks like Mountaineers will have a chance to move it out. But again, like we said, and that's my apologies. So, Emily, I apologize if any relatives of yours or any Mansfield staff listening to the broadcast. It's Emily Blighty who made the nice block there, and I'll be sure not to mess that one up next time. So a good play there, but quickly into the offensive end, and that one will roll over the end line. So Kutztown is going to retain possession. Looks like that's number 9, Larissa Motz, checking in for the Mountaineers.
I want to see a fancy play here by Marcy Showing. She dials up a lot of good plays off of these free, not kicks, but free plays / corners.
And that one nearly trickles its way inside. Kicked away, but it looks like that's going to be a foul on the Golden Bears. So maybe that wasn't much of a fancy play, but it worked just as good. Ball was bounding in the goal crease, and if not for a foul, looked like that was going to be, is that number 11 down there? It looks like that's Wampler. That would have had a tap-in goal.
Checking in for Mansfield will be number 5, Amber Prince. She's the junior from Sinking Spring, PA. And once again, Mansfield on the attack, but Golden Bear defense has numbers. I'm sure they'll be all right.
Yeah, Golden Bears kind of sitting back, which, you know, is ironic because they've still been able to hold the ball in the offensive end with keeping the defense back, and that's exactly what you want to see.
You know,
and
I swear
it looks
the
like
caster
that's
curse
going to
is
be
real.
a foul.
I
swear that caster curse is real, man.
So that's going to be a foul there on Morgan Aldinger. And looks like Mansfield is going to have a corner. And we also are going to see quite a few substitutions here from head coach Marcy Schuing. Looks like Michaela Beatty set to check in. Trinity Ponton set to check in. Looks like Madison Stewart's down there thinking about getting herself back in the game as well. So seeing kind of a line change from Coach Schuing. But first the corner. Ball played out top. Mounties control. Good defense there by the likes of Conowall and Furman as they deny any chance for the Mounties. Furman controls in the end, but it looks like the Mounties are going to retain possession, get right back up top, and look for a quick reset. A lot of struggle here with the ball.
Golden Bear defense comes up big again.
As now the Golden Bear defense, as you said, comes up big, retains, and a long clear out made there. Mounties looking to move it back in as they're enjoying some possession that they haven't here in the last 10 minutes or so, and that will be a foul on the Golden Bears. That one definitely went off a foot. Looked like that was Mackenzie Furman who it deflected off of. So 11:22 left here in the second half. Golden Bears lead 2-0 in what, like we said, it is very much a must-win for them to keep their playoff hopes alive, and they have really delivered tonight. And they've really just got to see this one out for the next 11 minutes. That one cleared down into the corner. Great play made there by Molly Bobjack to save it. And they look to move it up.
Fans not happy about that call, thinking that it should be Kutztown ball, but unfortunately for them, Mansfield pressing here inside the 15-yard line.
More good work by the Kutztown defense. And by the looks of it, Glenn, I don't see a single Kutztown defender or player past the 20-yard line. So they are packing it in and looking to kind of park the bus and see this one out.
Absolutely, because Marcy Schuing knows that if you just look at the way the game has been played, Mansfield hasn't been able to make any real one-on-one plays. So they've been trying to manufacture these tough plays where they send the ball in and hope something happens. But if you just have too many girls there, you just can't get anything going. So Kutztown, like you said, parking the bus, making sure they're packed in. You have two girls. Once again, you can see it right here. Two girls every time someone touches the ball. So there you go.
And now maybe you can end up with a counter. Good play by Bobjack, and she smartly looks for Ponton. Ponton with the ball, and she's going to go. Ponton down past the 50 to the 40, and she is going to take it towards the goal. Looks like Ponton gets it down almost to the 25-yard line. Boy, she looked like maybe little shades of Craig Reynolds there in the open field, able to get out and go, and she really only had one more defender to beat, and she was goalward.
She had beaten 3 by my count. Couldn't beat the 4th, unfortunately, but I think that wasn't so much on the speed. I think that she lost touch on her second tap there. And the Mansfield defense took advantage of it. The one defender, I believe, at the top is number 26, Megan Griffin from Sellersville, PA.
And she was the last line of defense there, and luckily Griffin makes the stop for the Mounties. But it seems that on that counterattack, it's only a matter of time that Kutztown's going to end up on the breakaway. If they continue to play strong defensively, Mansfield is pushing everyone up and Kutztown parking everyone back. But now we are going to see a timeout here from the Mountaineers with 9:02 left in the second half. And that'll allow us a second to rest our voice and step aside. You're watching Kutztown University Field Hockey on the Golden Bear Network. All right, after the short break in action, Mounties talking it over, and you have to imagine that most of that conversation from Brittany Hansroth, head coach in her third season for Mansfield, had to do with how to get the ball in the back of the net, how to beat this Kutztown defense, which they have not been able to do tonight. But like we said, it's now 9 minutes away from picking up a huge victory and continuing what has been outstanding play at home on the brand-new turf here at Andre Reed Field.
Coming right out of the timeout, you can see there's been little to no adjustment by Marcy Schuing. She's still parking the bus, making it so that Mansfield has to beat not one but two girls anytime that they touch the ball.
Good steal by Furman, who has also been excellent tonight, and she whacks one. I don't know how she thought Wampler was going to handle that. Maybe that's kind of like a, maybe you'll get this, but I'm just going to clear it out type of pass. But it goes out of bounds, but it serves the purpose of getting it out, and the Mounties have to reset.
I'd like to give a shout-out to Chuck Urogian, sending us a tweet saying that our announcing has been just as good as the defense. So, I mean, I can't complain about that one.
Yeah, he's somewhat biased, but I would say
why.
I would say his opinion's still decently valid. So I'll give a shout-out to Chuck, my dad, and anyone else listening. We appreciate having you alongside. And looking forward to bringing you some more live streaming action, especially when basketball season comes around. But I know it's nice to be able to watch when you're not able to attend.
And please, any and all feedback is welcome. If you want to just at us on Twitter at KU Golden Bears, we would love to hear anything you have to say about our stream. But cutting that off, we have the Golden Bears pressing into the Mansfield zone. And once again, caster curse is a real thing. I swear on it.
Great lifted ball there by Stewart down to Wozniak, but she was just a little bit didn't really want to try to beat four defenders down there, and that's what's going to happen at this point in the game. I mean, you may be able to get a counter breakaway like we saw with Trinity Ponton, but for the most part, you're not pushing your players up the field anymore, so it's kind of going to be a one-on-four situation for Wozniak. If she wants to beat four players, go for it. But I think really what you're looking for if you're Marcy Schuing is just control the ball and continue to dump it deep.
More efficient play. Like I think that's what you're trying to allude to is the Golden Bears. Because, yes, there's always that one chance that your girl can make a fantastic play, beat four girls off the dribble. But I think in a game like field hockey, you see a lot more team play. You get three or four girls forward instead of one. Yes, you'll see your occasional breakaway, but right here you'll see Kira Wozniak working with, I believe that is Michaela Beatty, and now we see Wozniak into the zone.
Yeah, so that's Conowall to Wozniak, and Wozniak looked like she was going to draw a foul, and she does. So you got to love to see that. Not only does it give you a corner in the offensive end, but those precious seconds tick off the clock, as I'd imagine the corner will probably be taken right around the 6-minute mark, and you've nearly seen this one out. And, you know, one goal here would absolutely do it. But, again, it's kind of all just about the possession game right now, and everything else will take care of itself.
Aldinger taking her time, sends it out.
Yeah, Furman came in on the short side, but Aldinger elects to go up top to Stewart. Stewart with some fancy stick work and puts it on net. Kicked away there by the Brittany Ryan, the sophomore from Burnt Hills, New York. Not sure if that shot would have counted or not. It looked like they blew the whistle pretty quick. But either way, a good chance for the Kutztown offense here late in the game.
The Golden Bears are still pressing, still keeping the pedal to the metal, which is good to see. You don't want to play to lose. You don't want to play not to lose. You want to play to win.
Yep, great steal there by Conowall, who has done a nice job, like you said, looking to extend that lead, playing to win out there here in the last 5 minutes. And that looked like it was going to be a break for Mansfield. Great job there by Lee Rosselli to not only make the play on defense, but kind of just push it down into the corner away from the cage, as Mansfield will have to reset after the foul. Shot slapped inside, and there was a room for, I think that was number 13. Hard to see the number down there, but there was room for that Mountie player on the inside to send that towards goal.
You are correct. Number 13, Emily Sadowski.
But it was broken up well, and that one's going to go out of bounds, so Kutztown will get possession in their defensive end. 4:46 left here now in what has been a great effort from the Golden Bears tonight.
If the Mansfield Mountaineers want to get back into this game, they need to score it now. And you'll be looking to see Larissa Motz, who's their leading goal scorer with 9 on the season from Percy, Pennsylvania. the sophomore really needs to get something going. She seems to be like their best playmaker, and if she's not rolling, it doesn't seem like the rest of the team does. Only 4 combined goals scored by other players. So Motts is going to have to make something happen for the Mountaineers, or this is pretty much good night.
Yeah, and at this point, if I'm head coach Marcy Schuing, as Mansfield gets possession deep in the end, tries to get a shot off, but Rosselli is there again, and she will just shield the ball and is able to move it out. But if I'm head coach Marcy Schuing, I'm basically telling everybody, yeah, it'd be great if we can get another goal, and it looks like they may have a chance for one here. But honestly, I'm just as satisfied as long as everyone gets back on defense. Long carry in from Stewart. Stewart looked like she was going to let one go and was unable to do so, but that's going to be a foul. Stewart with a quick reset. Stewart up top. Slaps one in towards goal, and that one is going to go out of bounds.
Looked like number 11, Madison Wampler, had a chance on that ball, just misplayed it, but I believe Kutztown will still have possession. Last touch by a Mansfield Mountaineer.
Yep, so it looks like it was last touch by Mansfield. Good eye up here, and that will keep the ball with Kutztown. So, yeah, I mean, if you're Coach Ewing, you're just as happy with this. Yeah, you'd love another goal, but you're just as happy with controlling the ball in the offensive end. And then, look, when they try to come on the counter, they've got 2 girls compared to your 5. So you want to keep them back and just kind of milk this one as you're only 258 away from picking up a huge victory.
And as we had mentioned earlier, with a victory, with the victory by Bloomsburg, or did they lose?
So Bloomsburg dropped that game today to Millersville, a 3-2 loss. So like we said, Bloomsburg will move down to 4-3. Slippery Rock remains at 4-3 without a game today. Westchester falls to 3-4. So Kutztown at 4-4 would move up on top of Westchester and be sitting just kind of 1 game back or a half game back of both Bloomsburg and Slippery Rock. Ball controlled in the middle, and the Mounties have their best chance in the night, and it's going to roll over the back line for a goal. So that's kind of exactly what we were talking about you don't want to happen. I understand pushing the offense up, trying to get that third goal to really end the game, but it leaves you susceptible in the back end, and that's what you saw there. There was just earlier in the game or earlier in this half, we saw 10 of the defenders all back there, and this time there was not enough of the Kutztown defense back, and that's how that one ends up in the back. We will get a confirmation on who exactly scored that one. Looks like that was Dana Evans, assisted by Michaela Chaikin, and that's the first goal of the season for Evans. So suddenly, a little bit of a nail-biter here in the last 2 minutes.
And now if you're Marcy Schuing, if you get control of this ball, you want to tell your girls to go back to elementary school and play keep away the entire rest of the game. You don't want Mansfield to get a hold of this ball, and Castor curse is real, ladies and gentlemen, as Mansfield takes the ball over.
And I would think at this point, once you do get the ball, you just want to send it as far down the field as possible and make them run and chase, as opposed to carrying it into your defensive end, which is what Aldinger is going to do now. And she's really just going to try to play keep away, and she's doing a good job of it down there in the corner for a while. But now it looks like that will be... And it looks like the Mansfield coach not happy. So Aldinger not only controls the ball in the corner like she's going to again, but she draws a foul. So they're just saying, Aldinger, bring it home. Let's control that ball. Use your good stick work to bring it home, and she draws another foul.
She must have been a recess powerhouse, man, I'm telling you.
So now we see Furman try the same thing. No foul called as that one is cleared off the back line. Kutztown looking to control it in the corner. Madison Stewart now down there. 1 minute left here in the second half, and KU retains possession. So an interesting strategy, but for Coach Schuing, they've had some absolute heartbreakers in the last couple seconds this year. So I think she's just not wanting to take any chances and just continues to draw fouls and bring it out. So an interesting strategy. Can't say I've ever seen this before, but I will admit I'm not a field hockey connoisseur, so this looks to be working, but just as I say that, like you said, the broadcaster jinx coming to fruition as that one is taken away by the Mounties, and their sideline is feeling it, but that ball cleared out, and now just 17 seconds left on the clock, and wow, the ball thrown out of bounds there.
She got an arm on her. She should be a softball player.
Yep, so Aldinger is going to carry it into the corner, and this should do it. Barring anything amazing, the time ticks away. 4, 3, 2, 1, and the Golden Bears survive and take this one by a 2-1 final. But boy, Glenn, it wouldn't be a night here at Andre Reed Stadium without a little bit of drama.
A little bit of nail biting going on, but the
And
Golden Bears got it done. Most importantly, a W is a W. I'm sure that if we had our camera close to Marcy Schewing, there would be some choice words for her team letting up that goal. I'm sure she wanted that shutout. But regardless, Kutztown moves up, and like we were talking about before, this is huge for playoff implications. And with that loss by Bloomsburg, Kutztown moving up in the standings into PSAC. Great stuff to see.
Yep, absolutely. Most important thing is to get the job done, and all the W's look the same on the score sheet, right? So W for Kutztown tonight. They make it 2 in a row after their win against Mercyhurst, and boy, will they have some tough competition coming up. Traveling to Shippensburg, number 1 team in the country, on Saturday at noon, and then they will be back here against the number 2 team, East Stroudsburg, on Wednesday, October 25th. So just to wrap things up here tonight, Kutztown moves to 9-6 overall and 4-4 in the PSAC, while Mansfield falls to 6-9 and 1-6 in the conference. And for Darren Urigan and Glenn Mann, it's been an absolute pleasure bringing you this game tonight. And final score, the Golden Bears 2 and Mansfield 1. So that'll pretty much wrap things up here from Andre Reed Stadium. Glenn, it was great to have you. And until next time, we are signing off here on the Golden Bear Network. Thank you.